Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for our weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. The G7 took place, and a primary topic of discussion was cybersecurity. Inflation is on the minds of everyone, and it is happening. The New York Times is reporting that as astronauts dock, China takes up long-term residence in orbit. 3 Chinese astronauts arrived on Thursday to help build the country's rival to the International Space Station. Under industry, China wants to build a sustainable human presence on Mars. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic is reporting that they are in talks with Goldman Sachs related to a SPAC partnership worth $3 billion. And Jeff Bezos is set to go up July 20th via Blue Origin with his brother and another individual. And of course, Branson has been talking about going up July 4th, I believe it was. And under industry, Amex bets on NLP, according to VentureBeat. Under themes and events, we have 2 primary themes, space and cybersecurity. And we have quite a number of questions to cover in our questions from the trader base. As mentioned, we are going to be primarily spending time answering these questions, so we're going to try and get right through them, and we will have a follow-up call related to other events within our company. And we'll also be covering the IR, PR, and Marcom side under the strategy section. So let's get to our questions. We've got 25 questions. There are quite a few questions here, and let's see how fast we can run through these so that we don't take up too much time. Question 1, I do see there is a patent for the algorithm. When I searched the patent on Google, it has expiration date in a few years. So with that in mind, my question will be, does it mean competitors can use the patented technology in the future when it expires? Yes, it does, but that's not a concern of ours. We've advanced this technology far beyond what you see in the patents. We have new technology, and we have a new patent portfolio that we're building. So that's absolutely not a concern of ours. This is something that any company prepares for when they reach a patent cliff. On the website, I believe it was mentioned the source code is not open to the public to keep the technology like a trade secret. I agree with that. Smart idea. It's possible. Is it possible for other companies to copy the system from the publicly available patent when it expires? On the website fact, Google is listed as one of the competitors along with a few others in the financial markets. How likely will Vectorspace dominate the space? I'm looking for any edge VectorspaceAI has other than the first mover advantage for long term. So this was a multi-part question, and we answered the first part, so we'll go ahead and answer the second part. A long time ago, we learned not to develop technology or algorithms that were easy to duplicate. So that's just not something that we do. What we do is extremely difficult to duplicate. Layers of moats, layered moats, you might say. And of course, first mover advantage means very little in our space. All you have to do is go back to the days of Google when it first started. Companies start all the time. Companies make claims, they make noise. And it's not a matter of being first, it's a matter of being the best. Question 2, has there been any forward progress with any hedge funds which requested a follow-up meeting? There were several that came back after a trial, if I recall correctly. Well, they continue to review, and some may be attempting to duplicate. We're giving them time, and these things do take time. Question 3, in what form can we expect to see a PR regarding S&P? In a quiet form. That's the answer. We're not into buying on the rumor or allowing the public to buy the rumor and sell the news. Question 4, with S&P, Morningstar, etc. over the horizon making and selling datasets, would they be considered your competitor as well if they sell those datasets to hedge funds, institutions, and so forth that you are intending to approach? Well, first off, people get confused when the term dataset is used. There's a big difference between data and data sets. Morningstar and S&P, they do not sell rows and columns. They do not develop algorithms that construct correlation matrix datasets or generate correlation matrix datasets to make predictions in unsupervised learning. They sell feeds. They sell raw data. They sell unstructured data. That's their business. Our business is creating correlation matrix datasets, rows and columns that are fed into artificial intelligence and machine learning systems to enable predictions. Question 5. How has feedback been from any applicable trials, if complete? If trials are complete, are any going to proceed with VectorspaceAI tech? This is in process, and we do expect more than a few to enter the paid tier, and that would include, of course, them first entering the free tier. So we'll see how it goes, but we're giving them time, and we understand that we have the goods, and this is our business, this is our wheelhouse, as they say, and until they understand how to duplicate the algorithms in the tech, we're in a pretty good position. And that's just on the financial side. We operate in all industries. Question 6. Did VectorSpace already identify some possible threat to their business model in the space they are willing to act? Space biosciences and the market and crypto market. Okay, no, we have not identified any threat so far. We've just identified noise. Question 7. Will companies in biosciences want to purchase unique datasets from VectorspaceAI to gain an edge on rival companies and or improve their research? And is the demand from hedge funds, etc., likely to dwarf anything else? Or will other fields such as biosciences compete in terms of demand for VXV? So companies in biosciences will want to purchase unique datasets from VectorspaceAI to gain an edge on rival companies. Okay, so this depends on whether or not you value life, human life, more than you value money. If you value money, then you'll bet on the hedge funds and asset management companies and institutions. If you want to make a bet on life sciences or biosciences or space biosciences, then what you're likely going to do, let's say that you owned a company, a biosciences company, and you wanted to use their data sets, you'd use them not to gain an edge on your competitors so much as to expand your scientific research for the purpose of making discoveries, generating new hypotheses. When you make a new discovery in biosciences, that can lead to a new drug compound worth billions, a single drug compound. That's how the bioinformatics industry got started. Question 8. Can we use the official VXV logo to make some merch for Vexi's community? Please contact our PR department to proceed with that. Question 9. Besides trading financial markets, what other areas will bring a high level of demand for data sets? Well, we can answer this with a question. What industry has trillions allocated to it since the pandemic? It is the biosciences industry. That's where the money is. That's where the life is. Question 10. Does VectorSpace use datasets and the alpha from datasets to trade stocks and cryptos? And if so, are the returns from those trades company profits? We have not started trading the baskets yet. We are establishing a private investment club, and eventually we will be working with whatever regulators it takes to establish a true fund related to our thematic baskets. And of course, this requires a capital raise, and that requires attention on our part. And right now, we have a different focus. We have a focus on expanding our technology into the biosciences area and the financial markets. But once we have raised a round of capital for the private investment club, then we're off to the races with that. Question 11. How can I use Vectorspace services to create my own machine learning models? Or in other words, how can I easily get up and running using data from Vectorspace in my models? I'm reading through the PDF about big data and investment management that is showcased on the Vectorspace website. I'm finding out about other companies that have seemingly made it easy to integrate big data into machine learning models. With Vectorspace so far, I haven't found an easy way to get started. Well, getting started in AI and ML, one thing that you do is you either go into the supervised area or you go into the unsupervised area. So supervised learning is quite a bit different than unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning requires a data set, rows and columns. So really all you have to do is import a CSV file, and we provide those CSVs. You can find them on our site, in fact, today. If you can read in a CSV with pandas, you can operate with our data sets. That's Python pandas, just in case anyone does not know. We are also allowing the individual or the academic to access the dataset toolkit. We've been talking about the dataset toolkit for institutions, but we are going to be opening it up for individuals and academic institutions. And that would include the retail trader, of course. So please contact us if you are interested in advancing your data engineering pipeline with VectorspaceAI datasets. The datasets are rows and columns. It's a correlation matrix dataset. This means that it operates in an unsupervised way. You can extract clusters from this dataset. From any dataset that we build, you can extract clusters or generate clusters, and you can convert those clusters into thematic baskets, or relationship networks, or graph networks for that matter. Every correlation matrix dataset is a graph network, by the way. Question 12. The dataset updates cost 99 cents per minute, right? Does VectorspaceAI see this increasing, perhaps in a few years, if inflation occurs with the way the U.S. runs its monetary policy? We do see price adjustments in the future. We're really going to have to gauge our customers' needs and gauge the marketplace at the same time. We understand that we may have to lower the price at times, we may have to raise the price, and we do have that flexibility. So we'll do whatever is necessary. Question 13. I'm quite impressed with the knowledge of some of the community members here. Most of them even have personal vested interest in VXV. If you were to ask for any ideas or suggestions to mull over, of course, for June, what would help VXV out? Well, spreading the word related to the returns of our thematic baskets. In particular, the coronavirus basket, when we used to call it the coronavirus, or the GameStop basket more recently, or baskets in the pharmaceutical industry based on pharma stocks, M&A activity in pharma stocks, events within the pharma industry. And of course, you can take any global event and generate a thematic basket with it. So look for global events, build thematic baskets, observe their returns, and tell the world. Question 14. Will VectorspaceAI datasets facilitate an increase in the wealth gap between the rich and the poor? Well, we do see the world experiencing an Elysium moment in the future, and we have no intention of contributing to that, with the exception of protecting and repairing human DNA while in space. Question 15. To the outsiders, to the industry, what is stopping a company like Microsoft, Google, or Palantir from throwing billions worth of resources to create something to compete against VXV? Is it that hard to get anywhere close to the level you guys are at? The answer to that is yes. I've been building datasets since I've been a kid. We know how to use datasets to make predictions in ways most do not. Then you can take the example of YouTube. YouTube was a 24-person company before Google bought YouTube. Everyone told YouTube, what were they doing? What if Google did it? What if Google threw billions at video search, video uploading. Google lost to a 24-person team, and they paid billions for losing. Those billions went into buying YouTube. You also have to have algos and technology that are combined with a nimble strategy, and that's what we have. Question 16, this might sound trivial, but how did you get to the number 50 million as the total number of VXV tokens? Well, this number was the total number of outstanding shares that we had when we ran a public company. I was the CEO of the company, and we had an authorized amount, which in crypto would be your max supply, and then we had 50 million outstanding. And we also know that that communicates to the public a decent cap table, a decently arranged, decently engineered cap table communicates to the public that we're not interested in creating a bloated float or circulating supply. We're not interested in creating 100 trillion tokens. Most people think that without any public market experience or without having run a public company themselves, anyone might think, well, if you just make, 1 trillion tokens, if it goes to $1, you're a trillionaire. But that's not how it works. It works by building value and achieving revenue to profitability, and having a reasonably sized float or circulating supply at the same time. Question 17, what else can the VXV community offer as well as investing? Is there any way to contribute to support the development of Vectorspace? Yes. In addition to what was mentioned earlier, you can spread the word related to an upcoming PR that we have. Question 18. On Hand of God, a show I'm watching on Amazon Prime, there's this scene where they basically said big tech wants to track all the data and take our free will. Do you think that it's a realistic scenario where data collecting becomes so good that it recommends products or services that could minimize someone's ability to choose? Absolutely. This continues here. I was watching a TED Talk some years ago talking about algos and how they make your bubble smaller. So say I watch a lot of movies about stocks and then they stop recommending other things I'm interested in because they think they can keep my attention if they keep recommending stock videos. Does any of that make sense? Well, yes, it does. Filter bubbles are a real thing, and it's certainly something to watch out for. You want to step outside your filter bubble and start reading content that's not recommended to you. You want to begin to explore yourself. You just don't want to sit somewhere and have content fed to you like grapes. Question 19. I see the patents have been granted between 2005 and 2011, but AI technology really kicked off much later. How are 15-year-old patents still usable today? Well, a lot of the AI technology, as in Word2Vec, was based on what we did at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. Now, the more accurate answer to this is that we advance our technology. We continue to advance our technology every day. A year from now, we'll be more advanced. And we also adapt to the market. So we have no reliance on 15-year-old technology, 15-year-old patents, 10-year-old patents, because we continue to improve. And we're building our own patent portfolio with new patents. Of course, we'll keep some as trade secrets. Question 20, are there any updates from the partnership with CoinMetro? Not yet. We're still giving them some time. We're busy at the same time. We would like it to happen as soon as possible. So we may reach out to them and find out if they're ready. Question 21. I'm sure capital raising is under your radar somewhere for the medium term once the PRs come out as you start thinking about growth. What is your strategy around a possible Series A funding? Well, the first part of that question is pretty smart. We're certainly waiting for our PRs to come out. That's going to lay the basis and signal to the market that we're the real deal. And when it comes to raising a Series A, We'd rather not. We'd rather, of course, achieve revenue and profitability. But of course, we do intend on raising a round of capital to get us there. It might not be a Series A, though. It will be a round of capital that we'll first close on after we raise the valuation of this company and achieve consequential revenue. Now, we might have to raise a little capital to achieve consequential revenue, and we'll do what's necessary. Question 22. Has S&P signed the agreement? S&P signed 2 agreements, and we've got many more agreements to come. These are just the initial agreements. These are the data agreements. The data agreements represent the ability for S&P to provide us with data that they have today, but data that they're also arranging for us, custom data, in the future. We don't know when that's going to be ready. But the main point for us is that S&P needs to know that we're using their data to produce data sets. And that's when they'll showcase our data sets. And that's what we're looking forward to there. And that will include multiple other kinds of agreements. And those agreements, by the way, those are the significant agreements. And those agreements also come with PR from S&P's side. Question 23. What will be the benefits to owning a large percentage of the supply? Price stability? So the reason this question was asked is because we are interested in buying back as much VXV as possible. The reason for that? It's valuable. You want more gold or less gold? The answer is simple. Question 24. I know very little about ML and NLP and what the objectives are with blockchain, but VXV has caught my eye. What are the goals and how is it separated from the rest of the noise of the market already? Well, I'm glad you identified the noise in the market today because it's mostly noise. What we offer are real algorithmic technology solutions, not fluff. Not marketing. That's not how you get by. That's not long lasting. We're here to stay. We're interested in the long game. Our goal is revenue, and that's how we're going to distinguish ourselves. Aside from the fact that we operate in many different proprietary areas already with validated technology that is in the marketplace. Question 25. Will Douglas Peterson, the S&P Global CEO, know about Vectorspace? Or are these types of deals compartmentalized? Well, yes, they're largely compartmentalized. When there's M&A activity between large companies and Vectorspace, then that might be possible. Next, we'll move to the strategy section, and we have one word here, and that's revenue. Our primary target continues to be consequential revenue. Every decision and every execution this team makes and takes relates to aiming for the quickest path to revenue. Next week, you can look forward to a communication to the public related to our advancement in the area of space biosciences. This concludes our call for this week. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, find us online.